Hi, this is Lee from Proxylity. In this video, I'm demonstrating creating a custom UDP service. Let's call it test.udp handler. Rather than code this up from scratch, I want to use the Proxylity.Templates for .NET. So let's go ahead and install them now. They install a set of different templates with variations for async, ahead of time compilation, and non-async operation for both UDP and WireGuard. We're just going to use the UDP async AOT variation, which creates a set of files for us. Let's have a peek at those in VS Code. So you can see we've got the program.cs, the makefile, as necessary for a containerized Lambda. In this case, it's going to be running as a custom runtime because we're using ahead of time compilation. That shows up as a output type of exe, the publish AOT setting, and using the runtime support Lambda or .NET package. And we can see that in our CloudFormation template here, we're using the custom runtime, the provided runtime, and our bootstrap executable name as the entry point. If we take a peek here into the README, we can see a little bit of hints about how to get started. It looks like we'll be working in handler.cs to customize this project. Also looks like we've got a typo we need to fix in the template name. It looks like the deployment is just vanilla AWS SAM, so before doing any customization, let's pop over to the terminal and give that a try. The SAM build triggers publishing of the .NET projects, which will end with generating native code since we specified AOT. As you can see, it's doing now. I've sped up the playback here a little bit to get through the native code generation. It's a bit slow. It takes a couple minutes of clock time. When the process is finished, the makefile produces a single executable file called bootstrap, and that's what's used as the Lambda as the custom self-contained runtime. All right, now that the build's done, we can go ahead and deploy this. We're going to use the guided step. I'm just going to give it a name, the stack, and then tell it to deploy in US West. Everything else is going to be defaults. The nice thing about this is it's going to save that to a configuration file for us to use later. All right. Again, the playback is sped up here a bit. It's a minute or so of clock time to do this deployment. Once it's done, we'll see that we have in the outputs the endpoint for the new listener we've created. And that includes the chosen ingestion domain as well as the port assigned to the listener. We can go ahead and use that with ncat once this is completed to send a test packet. All right, should be finishing up here any second. You'll notice the listener creation goes very fast. Yeah, all right, so there's our connection information. So let's try ncat, and we'll send a test packet here and see if we get a response. So hello, and whoa, yep, instantly did get a response. That's fast. That's the power of AOT. You can see, though, our response is a little bit broken. We've got a line break in the content and no line break after it. Let's go see if we can fix that in the handler. Looks like using the SDK for Lambda that Proxylity provides, we get a nice clean implementation here to work with in a handler.cs, and we just need to trim that input string and then add a line break to the echo. And we'll go ahead and pop back to the terminal and rebuild that again with SAM build. Again, this is accelerated this time. This time we're going to just run a plain SAM deploy. We don't need guided because we already have that configuration file saved. So again, this is a couple minutes, a little bit less actually, of clock time end to end, and it's sped up a bit here just for the sake of this video. All right, there we go. Things are deploying, updating the Lambda function. And we're again going to use ncat, and we'll just repeat that same command as last time. Hopefully this time we see the output we're looking for. And there we go. Let's say hello again. Bam. Nicely formatted, much prettier output. So that's the end-to-end process in 8 minutes of creating a custom Lambda function UDP service using Proxylity.